Well, and Jesse usually comes up with his voice, on caller ID. I don't know who that is. Welcome, everybody. We are just going to wait just another 2 minutes or so and just let anyone else that's still coming join us. So hang tight. In. All right, I'm not super patient, so a minute's good. Well, welcome, y'all. This is recorded as well, so if there was somebody that needs to see a part of it that they didn't get to see, they'll get to see that. Welcome to our final ELO grant management meeting for 24-26. So congratulations, we've almost made it. So like I mentioned, this is being recorded. I'll put the recording link on the front of this. It'll be in YouTube, and if that matters to you all. But just wanted to mention that that's where it'll live. I'll send it out after the meeting with some meeting notes. So for our welcome, I wish I could take credit for this, but it's not totally my idea. But if just as a roll call, if you can share your name and organization and role in the ELO project, and then what is your favorite or least favorite slang word or phrase that youth in your program and or school use this year? So like skibbity is actually, I think, from like 2 years ago, which means bad and cool at the same time. So it's very confusing to old people like me, or everybody's favorite 6-7. So what is your favorite phrase or least favorite phrase or word that youth used in your program this past school year? And then also, if you can write your name and organization in the chat. And while you all are doing that, I'm Jessie Coffey from the Department of Education and work in the Office of Coordinated Student Support Services and have had the pleasure of working with schools and community organizations that have had these funds for the last 2 years. I'll give you all a minute. Brooke, don't you hear any slang in your? Maybe you don't have. I have a 24 and a 20-year-old and a 17-year-old, so they're constantly using slang that I have to use ChatGPT to look up. And my favorite one that they use is lock in, because that means pay attention, get focused, which I'm all about that. Anybody else have a favorite? Bra, yeah, I like that too. From Columbus. Oh, you future kids, you have to explain that. Bottle of water. I don't know what that means.
I'm British, so
do you want to share that?
I'm British. So every
Alanya,
time
how do you say? Is that how you say your name?
Yeah, Alanya. So I'm British, so
oh.
every time
if you want to,
accent.
or I can also use AI to figure it out later. All right. Let's see. Bruh. Yeah. I use that too a lot. Erica, what are your kids using at home? Or mainly your son, right?
I'm like
I feel like
drawing a
boys
blank. This is
especially use
my
a lot. I don't
third
know.
meeting in a
You're
row, and
on,
my
are you on
brain
mute?
is frizzled. So
Or no,
I'm like,
maybe I
I don't
can't.
know.
Maybe
What
I
do we
can't.
use?
Let me check. Erica, say something again.
Can you hear me? No?
Microphone. Okay, there we
I
go.
can hear
see it.
you.
My dings. There we go. Okay, I got it now.
Perfect.
So sorry if anybody was trying to say anything. I did not hear you. She's not with the kids, but yeah. Nice. Very good. Thank you all for joining us. It's a fun sort of end of year, sort of more casual connector. So I decided to start with the fun part right away, get this out of the way, so then we can talk about more of the fun stuff. But this is fun in that if you do all these things, right, follow all of the rules and whatnot, that you'll get all your money reimbursed. So that's fun in its own way. So all of your funds must be expended by 6/30/26. You have 45 days, as with all of the GANs at the Department of Education. So those grant award notifications, you have 45 days to get all that submitted in. I would just say don't wait until like the last day. I mean, I'd get in as soon as you could, if at all possible. So August 4th, because that is like running into your if you're a school or a back to school or an organization that does back to school or after school programs, that is like a terrible time of year, right? Nobody likes August 14th. It's very stressful. So if you can get those done sooner, great.
Hey,
Just as
Jesse, could we
oh,
go back one more for that for me?
this
Yes, thank you. So this is Camelia Rogers. I'm the Director of Grants Management at the Nebraska Department of Education. So it's my team that works on all of those reimbursement requests that get submitted inside of GMS. And for those of you at school districts, we also do the state calculation of special education expenditures. So we completely understand the deadlines and being busy. And right now, I feel like I'm drowning because of the state special education stuff, but that's okay. Because in about 45 days, we're going to be drowning in other things. We do ask that you not wait until August 14th. The things that we tend to run across when submissions are done last minute is that the individual trying to submit does not actually have access inside of GMS to be able to submit. And trying to fix that and resolve it on the last day that reimbursement request can be submitted typically doesn't really work out very well for either you or for us. So please do submit them sooner rather than later. The other thing that we would ask is that if you are submitting a final reimbursement request, which should be about what everybody is getting ready to submit right now, please do when you first create that reimbursement request, there's a button there to click that says, I'm submitting a final reimbursement. Please click on that button. That does make a really big difference. If it's not checked, we're not able to process it for you in a timely manner. And that's what I have for reminders for that right now.
perfect. Does anybody have any questions? This is our NDE budget guru. So if you have anything in particular, any questions on your budget or, well, I mean, more so not your budget, but your GMS processing of your reimbursement, she is the gal to ask those questions of. So feel free to ask away, put them in the chat. If you think of something, we can circle back around to her later, but she is definitely the expert, and thank goodness that you're here. I appreciate it. Our grant requires partnership contribution, a 1-to-1 match of the grant award. So this is in this is in GMS if you're like, ooh, I don't remember what that said. So when you received your funding award notification, almost everybody So don't go back to your original grant application, because almost everybody that got awarded funds was awarded less funds than what you actually asked for, with the exception of only a couple of districts. So make sure that you're looking in GMS to see what your final approved budget is or your current approved budget is, and then you would need to do your partnership match based off of your current budget. So for some people, there was like a reduction of $7,000 from your original budget to now. So you're only on the hook or have to come up with a 1-to-1 match for that final approved amount. And then if you don't spend all of your money, so the last point is, if your grant award was for 50,000, but your agency is only going to spend 45,000 by the end of the project, you still only need to generate a $45,000 match. So, like, even if your award is a larger, but you can't spend it all just because of, constraints or someone left, et cetera, you just need to match what you actually spend. And you can spend up to what your approved budget states in GMS. Your match documentation should be uploaded in your reimbursement request. I did provide a template in the past. I'll send that in the follow-up email. But if you have internal documentation that you have, like a staff timesheet or whatever you're currently using to capture your match, you definitely don't have to use our documentation to send in. But it does help as far as the cost categories if you can use those. And then some more support that with all of, like, if you have personnel, then a personnel report is run so that we can see how many hours they worked and then their salary, et cetera. So that all is supported. So this again is what I'm talking about when I'm saying your partner matching funds. So these are the budget item cost categories. So salaries, employee benefits, purchase services, supplies and materials, and then other, and then you have outlined exactly what you're going to be doing within those cost categories, and then approximately how much match you would generate. In this slide is the budget, the template, but I'll also send it in as a link in the follow-up. And then if, like, say that this one says that Terry McMillan was a licensed farrier, say that person was no longer on your project, but you had someone else that fulfilled that role, that doesn't require any like approval or questions. If it's just really, it's this role change, you can just say like someone else is doing that now. That's sufficient. Camilla, do you want to explain this part if needed for turning in documentation? Also, I don't know if the screen shows where they have that final button or not.
Yeah, so this here, that is a, when you sign into GMS, you're going to click on that GMS access link, and that'll take you to this screen. When you click on payments, that is, that will take you to this section there that you can initiate a thank you. You're going to click on that create new request. And that will open up a brand new reimbursement request for your particular entity that you work for. And sorry, I'm going to have to make this screen a little bit bigger on my end there. If you look really close at the middle part of that slide there, there's kind of a checkbox, and it says select here if this is the final reimbursement request. So that's that button that you want to click on.
So like right
And
here, huh?
yeah,
Right there.
right there. Yep, exactly. Yep. You're going to check that box. And when you check that box, you only have to fill out that very first section there where it gives you the budgeted amount. And then on the right-hand side, it says actual expenditures year to date. And you're going to put the quite literally the actual expenditures year to date by account object code. And the next section down at the bottom where it says expenditures object codes, and then there's like three things that look like a drop down. When you check on the box that says this is a final reimbursement request, that particular, yeah, right there, that section right there that she's pointing to, that would not appear. On a final reimbursement request, those
Mhm.
boxes do not appear. So you just have to deal with that one kind of thing in the middle there. And then to finalize the reimbursement request, you are going to, in that area where it says year-to-date detailed expenditure reports, you're going to submit your general ledger for the entire, I know it says year-to-date, it's the entire grant period. So in your case, that is a 2-year grant, right, Jesse?
Yeah, it
All
is.
right. So it's going to be for that entire 2-year period of time of the grant award. And then you're also going to upload your supporting documentation. So all of the documentation that you have that supports those expenditures, you're also going to upload it there. Please pay attention to that final red box there that Jesse created. Um, the file names cannot include special characters. So if you try to upload it and the file is either greater than 10 megabytes or the file name contains a special character, GMS will not actually accept the upload. So just make sure we change those file names before we get it submitted. And if you need to break the file up, and that's fine too. Sometimes what people do is they'll say ELO expenditures part 1, ELO expenditures part 2, and that's okay to break it up to make it less than 10 megabytes per upload.
Thank you. And then this one, why did we want to talk about this? Oh, is this one was to see if they needed to, I think, right? This was our last time a question we had. If you feel like you might need to do an amendment, is this the screen you should be checking?
Yes, so that is going to be actually, can you go back 2 slides for me? Okay, so I know she's got the box here on payments, but if you go 2 over to the left, it says open. If you click on that open button, then you will be able to see the screen that is 2 slides forward.
Okay. And I can add some colors to do
That's
that.
fine. Yep,
Or
that's
I might just
perfectly okay.
repeat it and add in a, but
Yeah,
I know that some people as they get, as they go through all the paperwork and all the math and sometimes may require.
right. And, we all have to do workarounds sometimes in order to make things happen. So go check, go and check your allocation summary. That'll tell you what is approved by object code. And when you submit a reimbursement request, the system actually does allow flexibility. Nobody is a fortune teller, but if you are, let us know. I think Erica, Jesse, and I would really appreciate that. But because we do recognize that, there has to be flexibility there with your budget, you can go 25% or $2,500 above what was originally budgeted by object code, whichever amount is greater. The system will let you do that. Obviously, you have to stay within the total original budgeted amount, but you do have that flexibility there. But if you're going to go over either of those 2 thresholds, then the system won't let you submit the reimbursement request. You would need to submit an amended application through GMS to modify the budget by object code and get that approved by program staff, so Jesse and Erica, before you would be able to submit a reimbursement request. So
Sorry.
that's another reason that's really important to start working on that right now.
Yes. And then do you want to also go over this slide? Because these are the reasons why you maybe would need
Yeah,
an
sure.
amendment.
Sure. Yeah, so You can speak to the information about staffing, but if staff is approved on the application, and it looks like it is, then we do check to see who was paid. So if originally you planned on having Erica be your staff person, but maybe Erica left 9 months into the gig, and Jesse took over, then you would need to amend your application to reflect that Jesse is also somebody that you want to pay using this grant funding. And then here, these are some examples of the variances and what would prevent you from being able to submit. So in this case here, you have $1,000 in supplies, which is object code 600, and you're trying to request for 3,299. This is a variance of 2,299 more than your approved budget, and that is allowable because it's less than 2,500. So you've got those two thresholds going on. Another example here would be you've got 18,600 in direct services and you request 22,502. So 18,000 is what you have in your approved budget, but you're submitting a reimbursement request for 22,000. This is less than 25% greater than the original budget amount. And therefore we can see your, there you go. But it is less than 25% above the original budgeted amount, so you would be able to submit for that. But once you go over that 25% or 2,500, whichever is greater, then the system would prevent you from being able to submit that reimbursement request. You will get a red error message if you are outside of the allowable variances inside of GMS. And please note that the capital assets for this particular grant does limit you to the $5,000 capital assets, and it must be an approved budget item. You can't request reimbursement for a capital asset if it was not originally approved. A dollar amount was not originally approved for that object code when you submitted your budget.
Thank you. So they do need to do an amendment for a name change, not just an approval. In staffing, change in staffing.
Mm,
They have to do the
yeah.
whole amendment for staffing.
Well, that's what it, yep.
I mean, I thought it was just an approval, not an amendment. So thank you for that clarification. So
Yeah.
that could very easily happen in over a 2-year period. So
Exactly. Yep.
And then in general, the ELO grant does not allow for programs that operate or for teaching that happens during the regular school day, capital reconstruction, non-removable structures, vehicle purchasing land, and then supplanting federal, state, or local funds. So those are all not allowed, as well as you can't use time spent on this project to write a new grant proposal or planning or find additional funding. Direct charges for items or services that the indirect rate covers. Food, including candy or awards. You can do food if it's part of like nutrition and education, a culinary program, farm to school work if you're purchasing like tomato plants or whatever. Those are all okay. And so if you have any questions, you can definitely just shoot those to me. Otherwise, you can just include them in their reimbursement. And then if accounting has any questions as they review everything, they'll ask Erica and myself. So any questions on any of that so far, y'all? This isn't like too different from anything we've ever presented before. I just wanted to, a lot of times if you're not getting ready to submit a reimbursement, some of that stuff just doesn't have as much, isn't applicable. And so I just wanted to make sure now that everyone's sort of in the mindset of submitting for reimbursement, also a final reimbursement. So if anybody hasn't, I think most everybody, we're working with the one organization who hasn't gotten reimbursement, but is in the process of submitting for that. So then everyone else should be doing a final one. And then these are the different for your questions. So if you have technical GMS questions, you use this first GMS address. And if you have fiscal questions, like if you want to just double check to see if you need to do an amendment, then you can do that. If you have program level questions, just to go ahead and shoot that to me. And then our final project reports are these are like very fun or a great way to highlight your program. So this is just a summary, or this is just the first page of the program snapshots that we did for you. We have you fill out a Google form that's linked in the next slide, I think. Don't forget to document with photos. You can see the second page of these have even more photos, but they're just a photo's worth 1,000 words, or whatever the saying is. It really is true. All the words are fine, but having those images of youth doing the awesome work are just really beneficial to being able to see the good work that you all do. We encourage you to use the snapshots as something that you share with your board as a part of a board report, like if you're closing out this grant, if you need to do that, or for administration, use the data that we support or that we provide you just to kind of promote your program in any way you can. And then just in any way that you can support the valuable work that you do, because it's important work, and we want you to be able to share that just for either securing additional funding, etc. So this template marked in this slide is your past success. So if you're like, oh, I didn't really do a whole lot with the past one, that one's still sitting there in Canva waiting for you. You can download it's everybody's successes. So you could see what everybody else was doing, kind of how they formatted it, but also you can just download your certain pages from that. And we'll do a very similar thing. So as you submit your final reports, then we will have folks create your snapshots and send them to you over the course of the summer. Any questions on your success story highlight? Again, in the follow-up email, in addition to the in-kind template, I will send you the reporting form. It was also linked in today's calendar invite because it's pretty important. It has only 10 questions. It shouldn't take you more than 15 minutes if you readily have pictures on your computer that you're using. The pictures that you want to upload, that would be the only thing that would take a little bit of time. Anybody have any questions on that? Okay, and then also I just want to make sure before we leave you all that we leave you with some tools and resources too. So as part of the literacy project, the Nebraska Reads project, we have summer literacy and early childhood resources on our webpage. So we have a couple read alouds. We have our literacy support tool. So this is what the webpage looks like. And then here's the lessons that are on the webpage. So we have Dairy Month for June. And although it says 3 to 6, like really a lot of these activities in here can be, they're things like that will books, and then also the hands-on activities with like this one creates, what is it? I guess it doesn't have a specific one there, but some of these fun facts, fifth grade, when I worked at LPS, we put these in the lunch line, and fifth graders liked them. So it doesn't have to only be for younger kids. This one is like a milk taste test. Again, this could be older kids. Middle school kids would probably like and do this next one too. So your kids best, what goes well. But I just wanted to provide a highlight of that. And then we also have toolkits, which are basically a slide deck. So if you are needing something for the kids during a program, like in the morning when people are transitioning or coming in, then this one has a lot of good resources. Again, we have the read aloud. This one is Dr. Stavum doing a read aloud, but then we have more fun facts. And then it kind of goes over the tools, but then there's recipe cards and other materials that you can use. Then here's the activity where you grow a sprout in a bag. So if you want to do this in your program, you could do that. And staff could use this as part of their planning time. And then we have, as part of each lesson, there is actually a farm to you video that shows how the products are grown, whatever the highlight is. So this one's beans, and then there's a fun recipe that there's a possibility you could make this in your program, in your summer program. So that is our reading stuff. That's fun. And so within this, on our page, I want to show you this at the top because it's kind of hiding. Up here is a literacy guide that has a bunch of additional activities, and they're broken out into early childhood, elementary, and then secondary for kids. And then no time is like the present time to work on chronic absenteeism. So I have a slide for that, tip sheets for families, and a link to our Nebraska attendance playbook. And then just a reminder that if you're bringing on new staff for our summer programs, we have our family and community engagement mini series that you could use. It's just, I don't know, it's like a 4-minute video that you could use to kind of explain the importance of working collaboratively with families and how that can benefit your program. And then, of course, the students. And then we also have a little micro learning discussion guide that's linked into the video under in YouTube as well. So those are there, especially for, oh, I don't know how that happened, especially as you bring on new staff at the for your summer program. But then, are there any questions in particular about any of the things that we chatted about? Oh, and I feel like I did. I lost one slide with that weird flip up. And then we also have our family-facing family engagement tip sheets that are also on our page. Just really kind of, again, for your planning for next year, how you can get families more involved, how effective best practice processes to have families navigate the school system, especially if families are new to your district or new to your building, if you're in middle school, and if people were transitioning in from elementary, etc. So those are all linked in there too. But again, does anybody have any questions about budget, submitting your reimbursement, things that you've purchased or want to purchase? If not, I did not think this meeting would take the whole time, so that is all I have. I'm just going to check the chat to make sure I didn't miss anything. I will follow up with your in-kind expense reimbursement template, the success story data collection reporting form. And if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to Erica and myself. And then any other GMS questions, you can use those GMS emails for support on that process. I wish I was more GMS adept, but I'm not. So I'm just going to give you to the experts who are really good at that. Otherwise, if you think of anything else later, just email us. We're always here to answer questions. So thank you all for joining our final grant management call, and let us know how we can support you as you wrap up your program and reimbursements out at the end of September, or not September, June, at the end of June. So thank y'all. Have a good one. How do I stop this? Just leave it.